So when you're creating content, take yourself out of the equation and put yourself in the shoes of the person that you want to watch this video, and ask yourself, what kind of content do they want to see? And then that kind of switches your mindset where it's like, okay, this is something that I would actually watch because it's entertaining or because it's, informative. And don't overthink your content. Make it as simple as possible, and just have fun with it. I talked with a realtor once and he's like, I don't know what I can shoot. All right, let's have a quick conversation. We had a conversation. It was like 40-second long conversation. And I was like, all right, look, we just talked about 10 videos that you could potentially create. One, how do you buy a house? How much down payment do you need? How do you choose your realtor? What are good areas? What are bad areas? What are good schools? That's videos in itself that you can create and repurpose for all of your platforms. So anybody who says that they don't know what to shoot, then they're just being lazy.
All right, welcome to Real Estate vs. Tech. I'm your host, Norman Kinsey. We have our co-host, Janae. Welcome, Janae, to Real Estate vs. Tech. I appreciate you being here today, changing it up.
Of course, yeah. How's it going, guys?
And
nice.
Yeah, and today we have a very special guest. We have a LO loan officer who's crushing it in his own regards, doing something very different. We haven't had someone like this on the show before, so I'm really excited. Ivan, welcome to Real Estate vs. Tech.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited and nervous. I don't know what kind of fancy questions I'm going to be asked or what's going to go on.
We're getting to a bunch of them. It's all about you, your business, and areas that you serve and your approach with your business. What you're doing as far as your approach is very unique. So we really wanted to highlight that today. So getting to the questions, first and foremost, like how long you been in the business? Why did you get into this industry from the beginning? And we'll start there.
Yeah, so I've been in the business a total of 6 years now.
Okay.
I first started, it's my family business. My mom's been doing it. My stepdad, my aunts and uncles, all doing it in California. And when I was a young kid, my dream was to be a professional soccer player. And I said, what you guys are doing is boring. You guys just help people find houses and it's boring, right? So fast forward, first year in college, you are having fun and doing all kinds of fun stuff. Got the mother of my 16-year-old pregnant. So my mom's like, hey, you have a job here. I know you said you hated this, but you can either stay in school or support your son. So I was like, okay, I'll get into the mortgage industry. Started processing, became a loan officer then. And then the mortgage industry crashed. 2008, 2009, it was just like, man, this is ugly. I'm not going back. So then I did marketing, advertising, social media. And then I played a little bit of professional soccer here in Vegas. That's what brought me to Vegas. And then I was like, man, I want to be my own boss. I want to do something. And my mom was like, well, the mortgage industry is great. Why don't you get back into it?
Still here.
Yeah, I know. So, 2 years, going on to a little over 2 years now. I got back in and I noticed that our industry is very boring. In a nutshell, it's like we just help people find houses, right? So then I took my background experience of marketing, social media, and content creation. I was like, how can I make it fun or how can I make it entertaining? And this is who you have now. Wow. Ivan, the loan officer.
That's awesome. I love how your journey kind of evolved over time, but you went right back into like, hey, it's boring. Let's make it fun, which is really, really cool. So then are you still on the transaction side of things, going through helping out buyers or sellers or people looking to refinance more so on the loan side? Do you have a team behind you? Is it your family? And are you still processing? Or are you more just in the front end? What does that look like for your business now, how it's structured?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm essentially the face of the business, right? I am the marketer. I'm the one that brings business in the door.
Superhero.
Yeah, I'm the superhero. Let's get deals. So I'll do the initial consultation. I'll talk to the client. and kind of prepare them for the next steps, right? Like, hey, this is what's going to happen throughout the transaction. This is what to expect. You'll be talking to Tina, you'll be talking to Aaron, kind of introducing my team, and letting them know that if you hear from me, it's probably going to be bad news. You do not want to hear from me while we're in the transaction because I'm probably going to deliver bad news if it's not, hey, congratulations, your loan has funded.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm the face, and then I have a team that does an amazing job, make sure that all the clients are taken care of, all their questions are answered, all the realtors' questions are answered, and they're up to date. So that I can do stuff like this, talk to clients and talk to realtors and help them with their content.
I love that. I love that. And for any LOs that are actually watching today's episode, definitely something to take in consideration where I'm sure, and I would love to know about this, and we're switching things up a little bit today because you are kind of like a wild card here from our traditional cadence. So I'm sure agents reach out to you. I'm sure they see your profile. I'm sure they're like, dude, Ivan, what are you doing? How do you do it? I saw one of your videos where you're like on the phone, kind of day in the life, talking to someone that was looking to basically get a first-time home buyer program. And you're like, hey, dude, or hey, ma'am, like, sorry, like there is no such thing, but I'm sure I can talk to you. I'll tell you what's out there. And then you transition into then being with a real estate professional, helping that person in the video. And he talked about some successes, some things he was going through. So, I mean, I'm sure how many agents like even reach out to you just to ask you, like, how are you doing this? And can you help? I'm sure you get questions. Can you help me? Like, what comes up for you on the real estate side? I'm sure now realtors also links below are going to follow you. And so I'm curious.
Yeah. So I get that a lot where realtors like, hey, your videos, or hey, who's editing this? Or hey, how are you doing this? And hey, how do I get started in video? So I first like to tell them that don't be a perfectionist or don't wait to start, right? Because a lot of the times we get in our heads and it's like, man, I don't know what to say, or I don't look good on camera, or I don't like my voice. And it's like, look, dude, that's the way you sound. That's the way you look. That's who you are as a person. People are going to like you because they like you, not because you're in some flashy Lamborghini or trying to showboat something, right? And so I give them a game plan, like, hey, look, this is where you should start. Why did you get into the business? What's the most exciting thing about the business for you? Why do you enjoy the business? And then have people get to know who you are. Because a lot of the times realtors, and you probably have seen it, where they just want to post, hey, just sold, just listed. And it's like, okay, what's the story behind that just listed or just sold? Like, man, I was working with this listing for 5 months until she finally trusted me to list her house. And look, we sold it above the 10,000 over or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that story, that whoever's watching it can say, man, I want to list my house with this guy because he goes above and beyond and he won't stop. So I love
that.
Kind of getting them out of their head where it's like, just post content, just create content. And that's where I come in and I help them with their content, what to post, when to post, being an asset to them for their business.
That's awesome. It almost turns into like another business almost venture for you because of the fact that you're leading by example. They're seeing that, they're loving that. And then it's awesome because there's a book out there called The 7 Sugars to Yes. It ties into that. So as you do something for someone else and you serve and support and help with, you're not, underlying, hey, you don't have to work with me or nothing, but by default, they feel obligated to work with you, I'm sure, because you're really helping them, which is awesome. And it's funny that you just talked about that because I just got finished reading a book called Brand Story. And the brand story talks about how, talk about the story of what's going on to then build some context outside of coming soon, just post, just listen.
Those just listed, or I just closed 1,000 deals this month. That's all you just trying to showboat, right? That doesn't really connect with your viewer, doesn't really connect with your audience. Can you imagine like an actor just saying, I won all these awards, I make this much money, I do all of this. But if he was to tell you now, like how he lived in his car or how he struggled for the first 10 years of his career, you're like, oh man, now I want to support that guy because this guy struggled and look where he's at now. Like that's motivation right there. It's really simple when you think about it.
I love that. I tell agents all the time, it's like at the end of the day, like the things that you think that you don't want to share are the things you want to share. Yep. So feed into that. Don't go the opposite direction because people need context. And a lot of times agents don't think context. They think that like it's a bad thing. So no, go in that direction. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think last thing for me, before I give it off to Janae, we're going to change up the camera angle here a little bit. She has some questions for you. Is like, I see that for you, just technology, you've really embraced it. And I know that you tell people to keep it simple. Your setup is not simple, by the way. So that's very intriguing. I'm sure to anyone who's watching this, they're like, dang, like, how does he do that? Like, he has a DSLR, he has a customized, like, great background. So for us, it's like, what technology has really disrupted, normally in this time of the podcast, but it sounds like for you, you've really, didn't really disrupt anything. Like you just saw it and you just ran with it and you had fun with it. And now you're seeing fruits from your labor. And so I just want to say congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Man, thanks. I think the sooner that loan officers and realtors embrace technology, the better and easier it'll be for them, right? Because you can reach more people. Mm-hmm. It's easier, right? Because your workflow is just like, okay, this, and that. All right, let's go. Mm-hmm. It just makes the process and the loan and communicating with people just that much easier.
Yeah, guaranteed. If anyone out there watching, check this guy out. Links are down below. At the end of the day, standard operating procedures, KPIs, how can you do things that really just, I always tell agents, film a video, loom.com. It's great. If you say the same thing over and over again, just record yourself and just send that video off and then stop repeating yourself.
Exactly. That's, man, I get a question, hey, what to expect in the loan process, right? I've already recorded a video now.
Yeah.
And it's probably like 7 months old, but they don't know. I just send it to them and like, hey, here's a breakdown of what's throughout the whole loan process. And it's like, I don't have to type it out, or I don't have to say it, or I don't have to make a phone call. There, they have the video. They can send it to their spouse, their mom, their dad, whoever they want. Like, hey, here's what to expect when you're doing a loan.
Yeah.
And it's simple. And it has my branding. It has my name. They want to reach out. It has my number.
I hope our viewers and listeners are taking notes right now, because that is so powerful, because then you don't have to set up a meeting, set a time of talk, send out a text message, and you don't have to leverage future efforts, scheduling those times where you can just leverage your past efforts on something that was already recorded and then be able to just go ahead and put that out there. So I love that. And that's why we had you on the show today, because you're leading by example. And that's what we want to do at Real Estate First Tech, is try to do the best we can to shine some light on these things so the individuals can be like, okay, there could be an easier way. Okay, I can take advantage of these things. So absolutely. Love it. Well, Janae, we're going to switch it up and give the mic off to Janae on the mix-up rounds. Janae, have some fun, as the questions might be not 100%. We're keeping this super candid right now to Ivan, but have fun with it.
I know, no, for sure. Love everything that you've been saying. I do have a random question off the bat. So you already said, and we've already kind of established, a lot of loan officers aren't doing what you're doing, like not on social media, not making things really fun like how you are. Was it hard for you to go against the status quo when you were like first getting started doing all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was, because nobody was doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where I was like, man, what are people going to say? What are people that aren't from the mortgage industry or real estate industry going to say? Is this guy weird? And then I was just like, I just got out of my head and just did it, right? Because sooner or later, you have to jump in and just take the dive and do it and learn as you go. I learned as I go. Like when I first started doing video, oh man, I just posted a bloopers. It's right there, actually, right behind you.
Oh, that, yeah.
Like, yes. So if you want to buy a house, contact me. And all my friends are like, dude, you sound like an idiot. That's not how you sound. And I was like, man, okay. So then after like a month of just what I would do, and this is a little tip for everybody, is I would grab my phone and just practice talking to the camera. I wouldn't post any of the videos. I would just talk to the camera just so that I can get myself comfortable creating stories or talking. And it's like, all right, now when I turn on the phone, it's just gonna be like, all right, I've done it 1,000 times already.
Wow, that is super great advice. I feel you. Sometimes I'm doing my stories and I'll like do it. I'm like, let me do it again. We'll like take 2 on that. But it's super helpful. And I do see that you're using like a few different platforms. Looks like you're utilizing like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Which one has been like the best sort of lead source for you and like best way to get connected with people?
Instagram for sure. Instagram, because you're just a quick, you're just a quick DM away. I've connected with so many realtors all across the US. where it's just a quick DM away, right? You like a few of their pictures, leave a comment and send them a DM and boom, you're in the door. Versus like if you were to do a cold call and say, hey, this is Ivan with Movement Mortgage. You want to work together? And they're like, what? Wait, how did you find me? How did you find my number? So it's just easier. It's a warm introduction.
Exactly. No, that's awesome. And I mean, they're able to see everything about you. I see that you do a great mix of like personal, like professional posts, like people are able to see your family. So, I mean, that's super nice also being able to build that connection. I am curious with Twitter because I use Twitter like myself, just like personally. How is that for you in business though?
Twitter is more like for me just for banter. I'm gonna be honest. I just go on there and talk shit with my friends on there sometimes. And nice. We just like go back and forth and just share stupid stuff. But I use it just more like to relieve stress per se. But I haven't really taken full advantage on the business side of it. Gotcha. My little personal, like, let me just go with my friends and just talk some trash to them on there.
No, I feel that, of course. So definitely got to have.
I'm human, right? Like,
yeah,
not everything is business.
Exactly. We always got to have that outlet. I am curious because Clubhouse is a huge platform that a lot of people are using too. Have you gotten a chance to check it out? Really?
So let me tell you why I hate it. Let me go back. I have mixed feelings about Clubhouse. Because you have to be actively present, right? And I have people that when Clubhouse first came on, like they're like, "Oh man, I just spent 4 hours on Clubhouse and it was intense." I'm like, dude, 4 hours. You could have been out like recruiting, or you could have been out getting business. Like, what did you learn in those 4 hours that you couldn't learn in like a 10-minute YouTube video or, and everybody is a guru on Clubhouse. And it's like, all right, dude, like, man, like I follow, who is it? I don't know if you probably follow Matt Libinati or
Oh yeah. Sounds familiar.
But he's like all of a sudden now everybody has a team or everybody's a mentor. And it's like, no, man, not everybody's meant to have a team or be a mentor. And like, you just gotta, that's why I have mixed feelings about Clubhouse. Cause I feel like anybody can just go on there and promote themselves as a guru, but you really aren't.
I love that.
Yeah, that's true. It's like blind leading the blind, especially.
Exactly. Yeah.
Clubhouse can definitely turn into that without a doubt. Well, I am curious, what is like the newest tech that you're kind of using then and trying out?
So not necessarily newest tech, but it's a lot of video. So like on my team, we do a lot of video milestone updates, where it makes it, and this is the tip for my loan officers and even realtors too, where it makes it more personal, right? Like you get your phone, and these are all pre-recorded already. So they go out during the pre-approval process, during the approval process, just under contract. And it adds that when I send them out, they say, "Oh man, thank you for this video. Like, I really appreciate it." Like, oh, it's different than a text. So it's not necessarily anything new. It's just implementing more video into updates. And also something that works too is when I have a new follower on social media, I'll send them a video. I think you did this as well. Right? Yeah. Where you just send them a video introducing yourself and just thanking them, right? Because hey, you're following my journey and I appreciate it. And now it makes me, when people do that to me, it makes me want to connect with them more and support their content and support them just because, I mean, and that's the plan, right? Like we're human and we want, it costs us nothing to support another person. It's not like he's selling me a service or he is asking me to sign my life away. It's just like, hey, support me, man. I'm trying to survive and I'm trying to support my family too.
Hey man, come be on our podcast.
I'm here.
Yes.
It works, man. It does.
It really does. No, I love that. Really being able to build that connection. One last question, since it looks like you guys are doing video a lot, and I know that you work to do a lot of video, a lot of content on your Instagram. What is your time blocking for everything? Because as we know, it can take a lot of time and with work and everything else you're doing. So how do you manage all of it?
So I kind of have a cheat code. I hired a content director who comes right now. She's part-time, hopefully going to be full-time soon, where she comes in and says, all right, Ivan, this is what we're filming today. Are you ready? And I'm like, let's do it. Throughout the week, she'll send me like ideas and tips and, hey, this wish we should do this week. And like she's coming today. She's actually here right now, where she'll, hey, here's 7 videos that we're going to shoot today. This is the concept. This is what I want. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. But before that, I would do like 2 to 3 hours a week where I just film content specific on questions that I get asked, things that I see on social media that I can repurpose for myself. Cause I'm not trying, the questions and everything that we get asked is the same, right? So a loan officer or a realtor that's created some awesome content. And I'm like, that's a good idea. Let me repurpose it with my own branding, my voice, and put it out there. Cause I'm not trying to recreate, the wheel or anything. So, at first when I started, it was 2 to 3 hours a week. Now I'm going on just a full day of shooting. So after this, we'll just start shooting. All my calls get directed to my team so that nobody misses out on clients or pre-approvals or conversations.
Awesome. No, love that. That's definitely one of the upsides of growth. That's sweet. You're able to, still have the team worry about everything and you can focus on all the content, but that's awesome though. Super great advice. It's nice getting to, deep dive into those. I'm going to hand it off to Norman now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Janae. I really do appreciate it for taking on those mix up around there. And I like this episode because it's a little bit different than our normal stuff, which is really, really cool. And I like what you said, Ivan, a couple of things about like, if you hear it, record about it. Like you hear something that someone keeps on bringing up, just like we talked about earlier, for anyone who's watching or listening, just be proactive, record yourself, keep it super simple. One thing that we're looking at for Liftoff, because we do a lot of video on that side, Liftoff's a sponsor of this show, is that we tell agents like, hey, like when you get video, I'm like, well, I don't know, and this and that. So one thing that's really cool for anyone who's out there who's watching this is just use Zoom and record the conversation, ask the questions, and then just do the editing where literally it's just like focused on the agent. And then there you go. Right. It's a good tip.
That is genius. Yeah.
Right?
And people love to talk about themselves. Like you're asking me all these questions about myself. I love it. Right. You guys are getting to know me. You guys are getting to know my story.
Live.
So if you get an agent and just say, hey, real estate agent, I want to ask you some questions about the market or what you're seeing out there. Right. The agents can be like, well, I just sold this house and this is what happened, and talk about themselves, talk about how they got the deal or whatever. But you're creating content not only for yourself, but for the agent. And then hopefully he repurposes it onto his social media platforms. And then boom, you've just got additional eyes that you can now hopefully get onto your social media platforms and turn into business.
Which is huge. Just like this is a good PR play for you. So we're interviewing you, which then elevates your brand because now you're on this podcast and then we're interviewing you. And then these questions are questions that maybe someone else is thinking of. And it really just comes together full circle. And anyone who's watching right now, like we've never met Ivan. This is like improv. We're just going, we have our little script here, but we're just flowing here. This is not like, pre-scripted or anything like that. One thing I want to get into so we're working on something that I find to be very interesting concept around farming, right? So we're working on something, it's called the 99 Touch program. It's called Technically I Have 99 Problems, but Instagram Isn't One. So we kind of took that from
That's awesome.
like amazing song back in the day. Yeah. So have you done this? Do you know anyone who's doing this? What are your thoughts about farming on Instagram to build a specific community outreach? That's like supporting businesses, supporting anything local to really build up followers within, say, your local market there in Vegas.
So the concept and the idea is great. I wanted to start a series, or I'm in the works and started a series of like a coffee series, because coffee shops are huge, right?
I saw that one. You already started it.
Yeah. So meet with local coffee shops and see how they started, and the concept that I think is great because you're not only, like we talked about, you're not only creating content for yourself, but you're also creating content for the coffee shop. But I think what you just said right now about the farming, but with businesses, is great because I think the local businesses need as much support as they possibly can right now. So the concept is great. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I'm on the same page too. Talk about improv. Hi, how's it going, Jordan?
Hey, yes, that is awesome. Let's get him or her on.
Let's get her on. This is Jordan. You're live right now on the podcast. Want to say hi?
Or ask a question.
Playing the pen.
Oh, you're playing with the pen?
Oh my goodness, that pen is awesome.
What
is that
color
your favorite
is it?
pen?
Is it your favorite one? The mother-in-law is on vacation, so she's with mommy and daddy right now. Jordan,
awesome.
Finish up, and I'll see you later. Okay.
Look at that.
All right. Love
True
you.
life right there.
Hey, true life. We said this is improv.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. We're not cutting that out either.
I know we're not cutting it out for all the viewers and listeners out there. So I think the last question that I have for you is if someone was to like refer you and they were going to use your services and potentially get a loan through, I believe you're with Movement Mortgage. I love the hat movement. What would be your secret weapon? Like, what would be that one thing that you would say, like, this is what I do to differentiate myself? Maybe because they didn't see you online. Because honestly, if anyone sees you online, it's transparent. It's right there how you're doing things differently. But what do you kind of say? What's the process? You show them your content. You show them kind of like the standard operating procedure or videos that you have already pre-filmed for them, or what does it look like?
Are we talking to a new client now?
Yeah, new client.
Right?
Someone just wants to use you. Someone's referred to you, or someone just found you maybe on Google and they didn't do a lot of research, which the majority of people do. What would be that secret weapon, or what's your approach to like working with them?
I think it's just transparency and communication. People just want to be guided, right? Like, hey, what to expect. And I let them know, hey, this process might be stressful. Like there might be times where you're like, oh man, like I have to send more documents in, or I have to do X, Y, and Z. So just setting the proper expectations up front, along with like the tech that we use, where it's like, hey, we send videos out and we give them constant updates. But it's just the transparency and the communication where it makes it easier for them to not be so stressed because it's a huge purchase.
I love that. That's awesome. That's cool. So we're now at the part of the show where we want to go ahead and let the floor be open to you. So is there anything that you want our viewers and listeners to take from you from this episode that potentially they can apply to to their own businesses to help them have more success?
Yeah. So if this goes into what we've been talking about, creating content. We create content not just for ourselves, but for our viewers. So when you're creating content, take yourself out of the equation and put yourself in the shoes of the person that you want to watch this video, and ask yourself, what kind of content do they want to see? And then that kind of switches your mindset where it's like, okay, this is something that I would actually watch because it's entertaining or because it's, informative. And don't overthink your content. Make it as simple as possible, and just have fun with it.
I love that. That's super, super awesome. Just kind of like get out of your own way, put yourself in someone else's shoes. And come on, everyone listening right now, you already know exactly all the questions you get asked all the time. Yeah. You already know what type of videos you could film, and you might tell yourself, I have no idea. I don't know. Stop with the excuses. You got this. So
I talked with a realtor once, and he's like, I don't know what I can shoot. All right, let's have a quick conversation. We had a conversation. It was like 40 second long conversation. And I was like, all right, look, we just talked about 10 videos that you could potentially create. One, how do you buy a house? How much down payment do you need? How do you choose your realtor? What are good areas? What are bad areas? What are good schools? That's videos in itself that you can create and repurpose for all of your platforms. So anybody who says that they don't know what to shoot, then they're just being lazy.
I love it. 100%. Hey, and YouTube is owned by Google. So you want to take advantage of that. Not to mention inventory is so low. So if you do have the address in the end thumbnail is the house and the address is the subject line, I mean, that's potentially search engine optimization that could work in your favor to get exposure for your business. So it's like, and then I think they said also Instagram now is open to being able to get search results from Google, so that if you're on Instagram, you now can get additional exposure to from search on Instagram, which I'm a big fan too. Instagram is my favorite platform as well.
Yeah.
But man, This was an amazing episode, and I really appreciate all the information, and and I just want to say thank you so much, Janae, for being a part of the episode today.
Yeah,
mixing it up.
Of course, yeah. So happy to be here. Thanks, Ivan. You were killing it with all the info.
She did. And then Ivan, I appreciate you also, being on the show and giving us some great information. I'm going to put all your links down below, so anyone who's viewing and listening right now can go ahead and get your information and check you out and follow you and consume some content that I think that would be very valuable for anyone who's watching businesses that are in the real estate sector, whether it's a real estate professional or maybe even someone that wants to buy or sell a house. So thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thank you, Norman. I appreciate it. And I hope the content that you consumed today was good enough for you to give me a follow or reach out or anything, right?
Amen. Well, thanks to all our viewers and listeners out there, as it is our intention for you to take some from our episodes. So apply to your business, have more massive success, and we will see you on the next one.
And made it to the end. Well, thank you so much for watching Real Estate Technology. We hope you found value, especially something you can apply to your real estate business. If you could do us a favor, we would appreciate it. A thumbs up. If you subscribe, hit the notification bell, you'll be notified for new episodes coming out, and comment below. What the heck did you learn? If you want to join our Facebook group page, there's a link right here. And if you want to be featured on Real Estate Technology, send us a DM on our Instagram page. We'll see if we get you on the show. So, take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.